Good morning, everybody. It's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. I've been working on the desk. There's a mess. I'm not going to try to hide it. This is where I work. I do try to pretty it up if I'm showing you a pretty journal. But I recently purchased an old scrapbook, and I'm fortunate enough to have quite a few scrapbook pages in my collection. But it's hard to find one that's completely intact. And this one seems to be just from start to finish. So it says Eunice Pritchett in the front and Christmas 1903 from Brother, that says. So that's just a really pretty little inscription there. Here is still the just original, all of the original things from the owner. And again, I think just page by page, this scrapbook is intact. All of these pretty little notes. It must have been, I don't know if the scrapbook was for sale at some point. I just don't know why, or if that's old for something else that had to do more with the original time frame. So here is a little, I know we do our little journals within journals sometimes, and that is sort of what this looks like. Couldn't figure out if this is like a little a joke sort of thing, or if it's real. It's got a flower, a silk flower attached to the front. I haven't really pulled it apart to find the very center. I don't want to mess it up. But it's just poked through on a piece of wire. And this says, Miss Ballon, will you accept this slight token of my esteem? Or ain't you that kind of a girl? L. Holgate. So how flirtatious is that? And then it's got these, I just don't know if they're real or not. We've got the Grace Hospital, and these are dated 1909. This prescription has got red peppers. And take, it says cheerfully, every half hour to keep cool. I think it might be a joke. And this is a dozen lemons. Squeeze one every 5 minutes for daily exercise. So these are just really, really funny. This one is for castor oil. Take every hour until relieved. There are different signatures on here. I just can't figure it out. But look at all these beautiful clippings. Look at that beautiful old image. Some of these are definitely worth scanning, and I do want to do that. There are little articles here. I love the old golf image. So I'm working on a golf journal for Jason and myself. So I will definitely be scanning this to go in. And just look at these old images. That's so beautiful. Cut from a magazine, of course. And have some corsets on the back of that. Another corset there. That's a beautiful image. That must have been where the glue was. That might even be able to be scanned and fixed up. So I'm not going to take a lot of time with this. I just wanted you to see this beautiful scrapbook. All these pictures tucked in here. Look how gorgeous that is. That looks like the front of a, is it the Saturday Evening Post? The Manor, Asheville, North Carolina. Lover's License. So this is, some of these things are just so amazing to have them intact, and they're old and they fit with the time frame. This license permits the holder to have as much fun with a girl as the girl permits. Either knee is fully licensed to carry one girl. The use of both knees is apt to give the fellow cramps. So cute. Should the girl find herself in danger of falling, she is fully licensed to hold onto the fellow's neck with one or both hands, 2 for preference. When the girl has no objection, he is licensed to give the girl a kiss, her face being so very handy. If she objects, she is fully licensed to return it. By way of varying the monotony, this license is transferable. Dan Cupid, Secretary. Oh, these things are just so sweet. And to think this is over 100 years old. Look at this beautiful cutout. So then we get to pages where there are some things glued in. A lot of florals that have been cut out. Look how carefully that one was cut. And again, just a lot of clippings. Let's see. Portugal, and that's fabric. Doesn't have a date on it. Yeah, that's from the Saturday Evening Post, 1912. When is the war going to end? 1922. My dearest Eunice. It is so hard to read this handwriting. My dearest Eunice, that name is still the same, even if the other is changed to, looks like a last name was changed. Maybe from marriage. Isn't it strange to think of all the changes that have taken place in these, it looks like it says 10 years, that once seemed to stitch so far ahead and now seem as though yesterday. Those dear old days at Sweetbriar now seem like some half forgotten nightmare to me. If it had not been for you, darling, I think I should not have survived to the writing to you now. Just to think that we are to be married. I wish I could have you come in my room and talk to you now as you did at those far off days, or rather nights. When you write to me, be sure and tell me all about your dear, I can't read that name, and the children, especially little Virginia Gray. This looks like it says Randolph, Carson, and maybe Will. I can't read that name. Something Clay, Pritchett, Dodson are pulling hair now, but when in repose they are fairly peaceable. Well, dearest, it is time I am putting a stop to this long, drawn out, and tiresome letter. Please write to me soon, and next summer you must bring your whole family to see me. As ever, Virginia. Elsie and Brad have just married after a breach of promise case. I hear that D, and I can't read this name, is a leading suffragette. Oh my, what a piece of history. That is amazing. Wow. So there are just so many things in here. If we took the time to read them, there's just really no telling what is written. It takes a while to read these things. Facts about the war, that's from Paris Chamber of Commerce, 1917. And then more precious clippings. Different pieces of history here. Sacred Heart College, Belmont, North Carolina. So we have just more and more. There's a little Christmas card. Engagement is announced. More clippings, more clippings. And look at that, a code. Ah, secret code. Kinky hair made straight. Again, just so many pretty things. Look at that. Look at the little paint palette. 1902 to 03. Look at that. That's definitely something that needs to be scanned. It's amazing to me that these things stay intact. If they're cared for and kept dry, there is some breakdown, some oxidizing, but things do retain their color. And look at that beautiful image. Look at all of the bullets. Just all of these things. That's pretty. More beautiful illustrations. That says babyhood, girlhood, and motherhood. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that robe. So pretty. More pretty images. That's a pretty image. Ooh. He's fighting a snake. Two girls. This has some interesting things in it. I read part of this. I think it's a mix between serious and lighthearted. So I will definitely be scanning a lot of this for some digitals. Oh, look at the fairies. Something's been cut out of that. But look at the little girl with the bunny. A.M. Upjohn. Don't know that I've heard of that particular artist. And then look at this. Eunice did some original drawings. Eunice Pritchett. And on this side, you see this, she must have, was this her husband or her? Dr. C.W. Pritchett. Maybe that little book of prescriptions came from him, and they were all just light-hearted and in fun. There's faculty at a school. I wish it said which one, but look at all of these instructors, 1904 to 1905. Maybe it could all be figured out with enough time. Pretty girl questions. There's a pretty image. The girl with the roses. We will just move on through this. Oh, look at all the fish. I have to scan this to go in a journal I'm making for one of my sons. Good manners and good form. Looks like a little shoe, or a foot rather, boot or a sock. Oh, Miss Eunice Pritchett, there she is. The daughter of Dr. and Mrs., so that was her dad, the daughter of Dr. and Mrs. C.W. Pritchett of Danville, Virginia, who is the house guest of her cousin, Mrs. Autumn S. Connolly, an attractive visitor. Oh wow, 1916. The Daily Oklahoman. So she went to Oklahoma. That's to Eunice. This is just a treasure. When I can, I get things back to the families. And, you know, sometimes there's just no one left in the family. And that's why things end up in thrift stores and at estate sales. But sometimes things end up in hands of people who aren't family, and they get donated because they just don't know what to do with them. I have paired old photographs, I mean very old, 1800s, with families, and you know, it's kind of some situations, all situations deserve respect, but if it's a more modern photograph, anything from the 1920s onward, I feel like if things are donated, the family just doesn't want it anymore. And 1920 might be kind of early, maybe even the 40s onward. If somebody donates something that's from the 70s, it would just be almost an insult to track down the family and say, hey, you know, why is this donated? People have their reasons for getting rid of things, but very old things, I have just made some real friendships from getting pictures back to family members. And it's always a fun thing to reach out to someone who, and one reason I feel comfortable in doing that is that I am on Ancestry.com. When other people are on there, I know that they're already actively searching for family. So if I find someone connected to a photograph and I say, hey, I found this and I think it's your family, not most of the time, every time, they have been overjoyed to receive a piece of their family history. So I'm going to stop for now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.